welcome back to another ramble video, and this one is Fallout 4 Art, Imitating Life. So, with the game set in Boston, and Piper referencing an important historical newspaper known as Public Occurrences, which only had one issue about the plight of the Native Americans before being suppressed by the British. So, if the Native Americans in this newspaper and the black slaves are being represented by the sentient androids and ghouls in Fallout 4, who are they trying to escape slavery from? So the big question is, who's representing the British? Well, the Institute, also known as the Commonwealth. Are they a faction of the Brotherhood or the Enclave, or, possibly a combination of both? It's more likely the Brotherhood. But let's look at the reasons why. Well, the Brotherhood is Steel. In all the different Fallout games and laws, they've been a quasi-religious tech organisation. They've got former US military and scientific community members. The tenets include eradication of mutants and the veneration of technology. They hoard the technology for the most part. They're quite a small faction, but they're probably the most widely spread across post-war America. They're one of two power armor factions, the Enclave being the other. They will defend territory and technology to their deaths. But factions have been known to change their ideology. The Midwestern Brotherhood of Steel recruits mutants. The capital Wasteland, Lion's Pride, they recruit Wastelanders. They broke away from the main Brotherhood of Steel, which in turn caused their own Brotherhood outcasts. And according to the Citadel terminal entries in Fallout 3, the West Coast Brotherhood of Steel may have experienced a civil war. So there's room there for the Brotherhood of Steel to have been made the bad guys this time. Now, the Enclave. Less likely. I mean, how many games can you have them as the big bad all the time? But they're the secretive, political, scientific, militaristic remnants of the pre-war US government, with ties to rich former corporations like oil companies Poseidon. The Poseidon faction was destroyed in Fallout 2. The Capital Wasteland faction, the Columbia Commonwealth, there's that word, destroyed in Fallout 3. Now, the Chicago Enclave is probably still in existence, because we know this from Eddie's audio logs in Fallout New Vegas, and that's the Great Midwest Commonwealth. There's that name again. So they're the other power armor faction, and they still develop new technologies. We know that because in other games, previous games in the series, when the Brotherhood have encountered the Enclave's technology has been better. So they're the sort of things going. What does that mean for the game? Well, historically, the Railroad, and we don't know who's representing the Railroad faction. We know of the Railroad faction from Fallout 3, but there were an underground resistance movement that used rail terminology as code. Does this mean they're a separate faction? Are they a separate Brotherhood of Steel, like the Outcasts faction? Or are they a separate Enclave faction? Are we going to have good Enclave like the Remnants? Not that the Remnants were good, but you know what I mean. They sort of were people. They were painted of shades of grey, with the motives more understandable. Now, the Railroad was helped by religious organisations, and they let them use safe houses. As far as a gameplay mechanic goes, could this possibly be the hubs where we can do weapon and armour repair? And if these are the hubs, is that where you can build your settlements? And does that explain why Wastelanders come to you? They're coming to hide in your safe house for the Railroad. That's just an idea, that one. Now, escapees used to be referred to as cargo passengers. We've seen the docks in the Fallout gameplay trailers. Probably just... that's out of left field, that idea, but it's there. And Canada used to be referred to as the Promised Land, because that's where most of them used to flee to after the British territory made slavery illegal there. However, in the Fallout universe, Canada's been annexed, so the Promised Land is probably anywhere outside of the Commonwealth, like the Capital Wasteland. You know, we got his name now, but the android who's in charge of Rivet City, he went there, didn't he? That's the Promised Land, the Capital Wasteland for him. So, the American Civil War, many slaves and ex-slaves and free slaves returned to fight for the Union Army. And then, after the war was over, the railroad smuggled many back to the United States. Does this lead to the idea that the game's going to imitate life by two Brotherhood factions, or a Brotherhood / Enclave combined faction versus another faction, similar to like the Alliance Pride and the Outcast faction from Fallout 3? Is this hinting at maybe a civil war amongst the Brotherhood of Steel, or amongst the power armor wielding factions of the Wasteland? And if there's a civil war, does that explain things like the Pridewind Zeppelin coming down in the videos? Now, things that suggest it could be the Enclave. They've declared themselves, the de facto government of post-war America, and declaring themselves a new Commonwealth / country / empire in Boston, where the Tea Party and the Independents and all that, Concord and Lexington fights, Bunker Hill. Maybe that's a little hint at that. We know the Enclave have, like the Brotherhood of Steel have, different outposts and factions that are scattered all over America. So, androids as slaves. It fits into the Brotherhood remit of not seeing them as sentient, and the Brotherhood's remit of preserving technology. But likewise, androids are quite advanced technology, and the Enclave have more history in the franchise of being the faction more likely to produce new technology. So, with both organisations having links to the US government, military and scientific organisations and communities, it could possibly be a hybrid organisation. Yeah, that's a far one, but possible. You never know. We then have the retrofitted Constitution and the Pridewind. Could we see naval combat in the sky, so to speak? Would that be a good little quest to put in there? Are you going to side with the people and destroy a bit of American history that's supposed to be 400 or 500 years old in this timeline? Or are you going to jump on the Constitution and shoot the Pridewind out of the sky? Now, the Pridewind is named for a ship of King Arthur's from Welsh literature concerning the hunt for a magical cauldron, which in other tales of mythology is supposed to be very, very similar to the Holy Grail, if not a different name for the Holy Grail. So does that fit the Fallout universe's version of a Gek? Is that telling us that Gek is here again? They're all fighting over a Gek again. Who knows? So, Three Dog. We know Three Dog's back, and we know GNN are back from the posters. Could the Railroad have ties to the Lions Brotherhood? Because how's Three Dog getting there? Or is just Three Dog broadcasting from DC? Which is, he's upgraded his equipment to reach Boston from DC. But, if we are going to have that, are we going to have nice little canon quips about the Lone Wanderer? Telling us what the canon for that game is? Now, last 2 points on this. We know the Brotherhood have a history of different Brotherhood of Steel factions changing their ideological pursuits. And we know that the Institute could also just be another Brotherhood of Steel Enclave style faction created specifically for the fact they don't have any canon to be judged on. With all that taken into account, there's too much important historical events that sort of gave America its birthright. It forged America in fire, so to speak. There's too much mythological resonance for the country, not to have some of the stories aping and imitating. So, with that in mind, I'd like to see the Brotherhood or the Enclave again, but not as you expect to see them. I hope you've liked my little ramble. I shall speak to you again, and hopefully you'll subscribe and come back for more. This is Robert on signing off.